The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Henderson Fire, Nevada, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 39319. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Let's start first down at the front bumper, where you'll find on the outer edges 2 electronic PA speakers. Just inside that location, you'll find dual air horns on the outside edge of the frame rail. Moving to the center unit identifier E83, along with that there are 2 paddle latches which will drop down, allowing access to the front hose storage. On the bumper extension on the officer side, you'll find your fire bell. There is also an access storage for hose located here. D-handle gains you access into that space. Once again, the forward section here does lift up for gaining access into that front hose storage. And then as we move over to the driver's side, you'll find an additional D-handle which will gain you access into this storage location. There is also a top mount mechanical siren located on the driver's side. As we move up onto the cab face, you'll find a marker turn indicator light on the outer edge. Just inside that location, you'll find the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. Above that, emergency warning light cluster. As we move toward the outer edge of the mirror on the A pillar, just inside that location, you'll find 3 windshield wipers across the seamless windshield, and then moving up onto the brow, you'll find 5 identification clearance lights. Also located in the top section, you'll find a forward-facing floodlight and emergency warning light. Your Opticom is located within inside this space. Let's now take a look at the side of the vehicle, full view, and then we'll focus in on the cab section next. First, starting with your front axle, where you'll find your tire, Alcoa wheel, and a visual sight gauge into the center of that axle. Moving toward the front bumper extension, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light, and then moving up onto the A pillar, you'll find a side-facing camera. As we move into the cab doors, easily accessible with a gloved hand, these are door lock and latch combination. They are keyed, and then right next to that, you'll find grab handles for getting access in and out of the cab for maintaining 3 points of contact. As we move directly over the front axle, you'll find 2 auto-eject shoreline inlets, emergency warning light, and then at the very top section, your water tank level indicator. There are also 2 pole lights located, one on the passenger and one on the driver's side. These are your side-facing scene lights. Let's take a look with the pump panel area. We'll come back to this section in great detail in just a few moments. We'll move on to the body section, where you'll find your folding wheel chocks, one in front and one in rear of the axle. You'll also find to the front of the axle a marker turn indicator light, along with an emergency warning light directly over the rear axle. As we move into the top section of the hatch area, you'll find 2 emergency warning lights, one forward hatch, one rear hatch, and then you'll also find a side-facing scene light toward the rear of the hatch section. Let's move around now to the rear of the apparatus next. Starting first, emergency warning lights in the upper section, along with a scene light in the lower section. We do have an external ladder located here on the driver's side, and down in the very lower section you'll also find your brake and turn light, along with a backup light and emergency warning light. As we move into identifying a few more of the items located in this space, we'll find there are 2 ladder storage locations here, one on the left side and one on the right side. Left side will house a 14-foot roof, and the other will house a 24-foot extension. There is also a rear 2.5-inch discharge located on the rear bulkhead, along with a recessed backup camera, and also a traffic advisor embedded just below that. In the very top section, you'll find hose dividers, which are movable, along with the D-handle located in the upper right-hand compartment for long-handled tool storage. As we move around now to the passenger side, let's take a look at the full view of the apparatus. Then we'll focus in on the body section next. The difference here will be your exhaust is ported on this side just in front of the rear axle. As we move into the midsection, you'll find your pump panel located on this side. And then onto the cab section also, same configuration and layout. Let's take a look at some close-ups of the items that we talked about. First, starting with your front bumper extension. We've got some images here with the compartments in the open position. As you can see here, there's dry deck material in the lower section. Front bumper line, which is also foam capable. This is the center section, and you can see now with the drop-down front bumper exposed. And then as we moved just to the right of that location, this is going to be your 1-inch decon line. D-handle gains you access into this space where you'll find the on-off lever and then also the connection point. And then moving over to the opposite side where you'll find your mechanical siren. Let's take a look at the Pierce logo. Directly behind is the hood release latch. Once accessed, you'll find on the passenger side your fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. As we move toward the driver's side, you'll find your overflow for your radiator. And then as we move on the rear wall, you'll find instructions here for your cab tilt for raise and lower, and then also a push button for that. That is a tethered push button. To the far right, your power steering fluid. There is a sight gauge and also dipstick. Let's go ahead and move now into the cab section. We'll start first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel are safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, electric window controls, and a grab handle. As we move into the space of the driver, let's start at the base of the seat where you'll find an air inlet access location. Also, this yellow placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, and then all of the fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and then also fluid type. As we move to the floorboard, on the left side, you're going to find an air horn foot pedal and then also a mechanical siren for your access for emergency siren. As we move to about the left knee of the operator, you'll find your regen switches and engine diagnostics. Moving to the dash area, you'll find your 4-way flashers, hazard, start ignition switch, also switch labeled EM, emergency master, headlights and panel switch, along with your OK to engage the high idle indicator and switch. Diagnostic information displays above and below this tachometer and speedometer. Just a quick look to the right, you'll find your yellow diamond, which is your pull to apply your system parking brake. Those are the spring brakes at the rear. Command zone located here with the display monitor, and then also your Allison transmission pad, push button, digital readout, information note to pump and neutral. We also have a radio master, front flood, driver side scene, passenger side scene, and rear scene, along with switches for your engine brake, settings for on and off, low, medium, and high, off-road traction, and load manager. To the right is your traffic advisor, and then also an indicator for stationary OK to pump and roll indicator, the activation switch for your water pump, and then also a push to talk for your intercom system. Some warning and caution information are also present in this area. As we move to the top section, you'll find your mirror control for both the passenger and driver side, flat and convex mirror, along with your climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. As we look just to the rear, you'll find additional storage and also a radio charging location and also flashlight storage. As we move overhead of the driver position, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, 10 feet 7 inches, length 32 feet 10 inches, and a gross vehicle weight rating, 48,500 pounds. Along with your switching for your emergency lights, you have an emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. Let's take a look just to the right to an additional switch panel. In this switch panel, you're going to find your high beam flash, opticom, the electronic siren, and a siren brake that is for your mechanical siren, and then also perimeter lighting. For the switching, when any of the switches have been engaged, the light will illuminate in the individual switch, indicating that the status is on. Just to the right, you're going to find your electronic siren and PA speaker system. As I move further to the right, you have an in-water pump pressure readout and also water tank level indicator. Do not move your apparatus if you have this light on. Also, seatbelt information. Red, someone is in the seat and not belted. Green, they're in the seat and belted. Behind the driver's seat, you'll find your backup camera, speaker, and volume. As we move to the exterior, you'll find when plugged into Shoreline Power, your auto charge status center will illuminate. These are the two shoreline outlets located here on the side of the vehicle. They are auto eject. Once again, Goodyear tire, Alcoa wheel, visual sight gauge into the center of the axle. As we move down toward the rear portion of the cab, let's identify a few items here. First, let's start with your door panel, where you'll find a grab handle. In the upper section, a window bar, and then also your information regarding warning placards. As you look to overhead, you'll find an additional air conditioner, 110 volt, which is what one of the shoreline outlets for, and then also your regular 12 volt air conditioning. There are 3 forward-facing seats that do have fold-up seats. This is considered a clean cab. No SCBAs are in this area. As we move directly behind the driver's seat, you'll find additional storage along with your Knox box, and then also an MDT charging station. There's also barrel-style 12-volt access. As we move toward the inside of the compartment, you're going to find shoreline outlets located here and 12-volt access. In the lower section, Webb confines the items within this space, and also we have adjustable shelves. In between the two EMS compartments, you'll find an additional storage location. There is a compartment light located in that area also. In the upper section behind the officer seat, same configuration and layout. And then as we move to the lower section, we have an additional EMS compartment here with webbing. Let's take a look into that area where you're going to find 12-volt access, barrel style, and also shoreline power. General view here of the seats forward facing. As we move toward the top section, this is also a location where you'll find your intercom system on the rear cab wall. Let's go ahead and move now to the exterior of the apparatus. We'll start with your crosslays. There is backboard storage location and then an upper crosslay in the upper section. As we move down, there's also 2 crosslays in the lower section, crosslay 1 and crosslay 2. These are both foam capable. As we move into the pump panel area, you're going to find first a 2.5-inch discharge locally controlled via the ball valve. Because of this, you're going to find a warning placard here regarding pressure hazard. Be cautious when opening. Caps may be under pressure. Large diameter pump inlet here located in the center. And as we move up to the upper right, you'll find a warning placard here regarding fall injury. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. You'll also find an air inlet outlet located in this space, along with your 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet locally controlled via the ball valve female coupling. All of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains are across the very bottom section. I do have some additional close-ups of these items here. First, one driver's side discharge, which is 2.5-inch, large diameter pump inlet, and then also your air tool outlet located here, and then down at the very bottom, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. In the lower section, you'll find that the step does fold outward. I've got an image of that next, and then also the driver's side auxiliary inlet, 2.5-inch female inlet. This is tied to the do not move your apparatus, so if it's left open, you will receive a warning flash inside the cab. Now on to the pump panel. Let's start on the very top section. If you've engaged your pump from the switch inside, you'll find this light illuminating OK to pump. We also have some additional engine information located here, along with tally lights for check engine and warning lights. To the right, you'll find your pump intake master gauge and pump discharge master gauge. You'll also find in the upper right-hand corner a PCM fault indicator visual, and then also a PCM fault audible. That's the black round. The outer edge does rotate, allowing you to increase or decrease sound level. In the lower section, you'll find the vacuum test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure, currently plugged and utilized for testing purposes. Across the midsection, you're going to find all of our color-coded and labeled discharges. They are also foam capable, along with water and foam LED indicators. At the very top, you'll find the Foam Pro foam system, fire pump air prime, a minimum 1,000 RPMs for best practices, pressure throttle governor located in the center section. As we move down from that location, your tank fill and tank to pump. And then also we have some information here regarding your foam system, operating system instructions, and specifications. As we move to the right, you're going to find 2 electric valve discharges. These are on the passenger side. And then also your rear driver discharge and deluge discharge. Minimum operation maintenance schedule located in the upper left-hand corner, along with a warning. Only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment. That's only after proper training. As we move to the very bottom, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's take a look at the vertical side sheet where we do have some additional switches. Located here is the driver's side scene, passenger side scene, and then a red air horn switch. As we move now into the lower portion, pan door gains you access to your foam fill and re-access for your horizontal position for operation. The yellow handle inside the compartment matches the description on the diagram. We're now into the compartment now where you'll find the S1, which stands for Shoreline Inlet Breaker Box. This is the overwheel compartment. We have two SCBA packs located here. Also in front of the rear axle, you'll find SCBA bottle storage for 3 bottles with retaining straps. Goodyear tire Alcoa wheel located on the rear axle. Just to the rear of the axles, we're going to find the fill location for your ultra low sulfur diesel, and then also a spare SCBA bottle. As we move the flap downward, it exposes the 4.5 US gallon DEF tank, which is the blue cap. Let's move now on to the next compartment to the rear, where you'll find a partition, pull-out tray, and adjustable shelving. Also, Shoreline power outlets located here. These outlets are only active when plugged into Shoreline power. Let's take a look at the full vehicle with all compartments open now on the driver's side. We'll now move around to the rear of the apparatus and focus on that section next, starting first with our ladder being deployed. And then we'll move up into the compartments here where you have your 14-foot roof ladder. As we move, we have a hose bed lights in the cup switch and then also rear scene lights in the cup switch. As we move to the top, there are 3 movable hose bed dividers. As we move all the way to the very far right-hand side, you can see the storage location for long-handled tool storage. We have New York hooks, rubbish hooks, and then also a 10-foot folding. In the lower section, you'll find a 24-foot extension ladder. As we move to the lower compartment, we have additional dry deck material in this space for ventilation. Let's move around now to the passenger side of the vehicle where you'll find 2 adjustable shelves and a pull-out tray. The pull-out tray does have a locking mechanism. It's located in the lower right-hand side. Let's move on to the over-wheel compartment where you'll find 2 SCBA bottle pack storage here, flashlights, and then also storage here for SCBA bottle storage. Close-ups here of the rear of the axle bottle storage with retaining strap. And then as we move down, once again, Alcoa wheel, Goodyear tire. Moving now into the forward section where you'll have SCBA bottle storage for 2 bottles. As we move down just below the compartment in front of the rear axle, you're going to find your exhaust location, extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. To the forward compartment, you'll find your little giant in the bottom section, a pull-out tray, and then also a tool board. In this compartment also, a Shoreline outlet. Let's take a look at the lower section where you'll find your little giant ladder with a retaining strap. And then as we move into the compartment, you can see we have a pull-out tray here for additional tools. Moving now to the cross-lay compartment where you'll find long-handled tool storage and then also a cross-lay in the upper section. In the very bottom section, there are 2 cross-lays located here, along with a warning placard indicating entanglement hazard. As we move into the pump panel area, you'll find a warning placard here indicating when climbing on or off the vehicle, always face it, and then also a pressure hazard indicating caps may be under pressure. Because we have overrides located here, there are electric valves. I'll point those overrides out in just a moment. First, passenger side auxiliary inlet, locally controlled via the ball valve. This is the location for your override for your large diameter passenger side. Also, your step does fold outward for gaining surface area. It is connected to the do not move your apparatus. We're down to the rear cab area, same configuration layout as we've already seen, but let's start with the door panel. A fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, window control, and a grab handle. You'll also find a grab handle located in the window area just above the main grab handle. Let's go ahead and move now into the front axle where you'll find an Alcoa wheel and also Goodyear tire visual sight gauge into the center of that axle. Moving now into the officer space. We'll find on our door panel, affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information. We have the yellow and red diamond grade reflective tape for firefighter safety when in traffic. Along with inside the area, you'll find a pull-out tray here for your MDT. As we move just to the left of this location, you're going to find your push-to-talk for your radio. And then also as we look into the left here, 12-volt access via barrel style. We also have on this side an additional brake valve located on the right. It is the black knob, along with two 12-volt access via USB-A. Let's move now to the overhead section, where you'll find additional storage in the very top outer edge. And then as we move into the top section, we'll identify those items. This is the storage location I just referenced. As we move to the left, you'll find your unit radio. Moving further to the left, you'll find your AM/FM weather band radio. And then also we have some gauges here. To the left, you'll find a digital speedometer. Let's take a look with all compartments open now on the officer side. And then let's move up to the top of the truck and identify a few items here. First, to start with the yellow diamonds. These are indicating the edge of the walking surface. As we move toward the front cab area, this is considered a non-walking surface, and that's why we have these additional warning placards indicating that. Moving into the dunnage section next, where you'll find your master stream device and then additional storage location. As we move to the top section, top fill for water fill, top fill for foam, and then also a warning placard here indicating do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. Moving on now to the hose bed cover. This will sustain the weight of a firefighter. And then onto the outer edges to the hatch compartments. There are two on the left side and then also two on the right side for a total of 4 hatch compartments. In those hatch compartments, you do have dry deck material on the floor, LED lighting, and as you can see in this compartment, this is the location for your battery charger. When plugged into Shoreline Power, that will become active and maintain battery status. As we move into the hose bed area, you'll find the movable hose bed dividers. Also, there is dry deck material on the bottom section to allow ventilation, and then also LED lighting within this space also. We do have some additional images here for your access to the chassis, undercarriage, and engine components. There'll be no additional audio from this point on. Congratulations, Henderson Fire, Nevada, on your new Pierce Fire apparatus, job number 39319. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.